Hi, I'm Sydney Mundell and I'm a sophomore.
I'm Scarlett Jackson and I'm a sophomore.
I'm Jacob Atkinson.
I'm Abigail Boyer and we're in 10th grade.
Hi, I'm Patrick O'Neill and I'm the dishwasher.
I'm Sarah and I'm in 10th grade.
Also Sarah and I'm also in 10th grade.
My name is Andre Washington and I'm currently the kitchen manager at the high school here at Cash High School.
I'm Hannah Buttrey and I'm a sophomore.
My name is Mitchell Watson and I teach English at the 7th grade Cash Middle School.
My name is Britton Novak and I am an AP language teacher. I teach English 3 and I am a half-day school counselor.
I'm Scott and I'm a junior here at Cash High School.
Hi, my name is Britton Dowan and I'm a sophomore at Cash High School.
I'm Brent Cushing, I'm a senior here at Cash High School.
My name is Frances Maynor and I'm the choral director for Cash Public Schools. So since I've started teaching in Oklahoma, my first year was at Lawton High, and that was a little bit rough because in the Lawton schools they don't have the capability to pass bonds like we do here in Cash. So we have a lot of nice things here at Cash because we have community support, but when I was at Lawton High we didn't have that. So there was just so much that was lacking there. Like the facilities are just disgusting, and if there was wind or rain or a dust storm, that was all blowing in my windows all while I was trying to teach. So it's a huge, I mean, that in itself was essentially a huge distraction.
It's a great experience. Never been a kitchen manager before, so just coming in here and this being my first time as a manager, it's been a definitely a great experience. The teachers are great, the students are great, my staff is great. Overall, if I had to rate it out of 10, I'll probably get a 10 out of 10.
Well, this is my 4th year teaching, and what I find is that our teachers are paid the lowest in the nation, that our classrooms aren't funded, that we have entirely too many students per teacher. I have about 30 students per class and 30 12-year-olds, and you should not put 30 12-year-olds together in the classroom.
I've only taught for about 5 years now. So far the experience teaching my subject has been overall positive. I don't need the same resources as some teachers, but the choir budget has suffered as a result of cuts. I used to receive a certain fund from the district every year that would help pay for sheet music and the musical and things like that. I no longer get that. They cut that from me. So the only budget I have left is what the kids can fundraise every year, and that's it.
Well, I think teachers are really stretched thin right now, so if they have that flexibility of having more money, then they'll be able to be the teachers that they want to be, rather than having to stress out over paying bills or whatever else eating it is that they need to do.
I feel as if we'd get pay raises for teachers. We'd get more classes available because right now we only have basics, and that's a huge problem. And compared to other schools that have different languages and they have like drama clubs and stuff like that, we can't even afford to do that. So that's kind of, it kind of sucks for the students themselves.
So here in Oklahoma, and not in our school, we're lucky that we get all these bonds, we get community support. So, and even with all that, our books and everything, some of these books are older than us. We're 17-year-olds, 16-year-olds, and that's kind of ridiculous to have books that outdated. Information changes all the time. And then again, with a pay raise for the teachers, we have a lot of good teachers here in Oklahoma, and the fact that a lot of these teachers have to leave to find a better paying job in other states to support their family, that's really, it shouldn't have to be like that, because we lose a lot of good people who help teach us, and with them leaving, we're missing out on that.
I think it will affect me by helping my learning experience just in a whole. The teachers, I feel like they'll be more happy, honestly, and I feel like they'll be more excited to teach us. And then I also think that the technology that we will be getting, like new textbooks, new just technology in a whole, will really help us with our learning experience.
Me personally, I think that it's important as me a senior, to look back on kids that'll be going through the school. I've had my run through the school and I've been affected by this. So I think it's important for teachers to get paid properly so that students that come after me, won't have to face the same things that I had to face. And I think that that's what's important for us seniors to look out for, our other peers.
The budget cuts, it's kind of obvious that the budget cuts here haven't been affected us because you can notice that a lot more of our textbooks are still really broken, are just pretty much broken in. Like a lot of the pages are ripped. The front of the textbooks, the back of the textbooks are pretty much like either utterly destroyed or they're still intact somehow. And with that, I remember whenever we first had the budget cuts, I remember they said we won't have certain days of school and everything. Like we went like a couple days without school just because of the budget cuts. So
I feel like the budget cuts have affected a lot here in Cache. It's affected our electives. We don't have as much electives, and our electives are not get funding. Most of our electives, we have to do tons of fundraisers just to get our equipment, and we still don't even have enough money to do that. Our computers in our computer labs, half of them don't even work. Most of the teachers have to come pay out of their pocket just to provide us with stuff that we need.
Well, I'm in band and choir, and that's a huge thing because band especially is really expensive, and not necessarily our program, but I know a lot of music programs are faced with being cut every day, and that's really devastating to a lot of kids because a lot of the time band and choir are the only home that they have. I know personally if we didn't have a band program, I wouldn't have the friends that I did, and I know a band program, the Lawton High School band program, they, at least a couple years ago, they got absolutely no money at all from their school, which is really sad to see because they could potentially be an amazing band and they're not able to be because of the funding that they do not get. Same thing with Cache Band. We could be a lot better if we just had the opportunity to be, because our kids, we have the commitment. We just don't have the resources or the not the ability, but you know what I'm trying to say, like I messed up. Like we don't have the resources to be able to be the best that we can be.
It's affected me art-wise as well because it's a curriculum I want to go into college with. And relating to the last question, we don't really have that many art-related subjects. We only have one class that I've been taking constantly, and we had a club, but sadly due to budget cuts, it was only open for 1 year, and after that it was discontinued because we didn't have enough money to fund it.
I'm a varsity high school cheerleader, and honestly, we do not get anything. And it's not because of our school, it's honestly because of budget cuts, and it really affects how we go out and compete because we are a competitive team. So if we don't even have a gym to practice in because it's always taken up by another sport. We don't have the facilities we need, and we don't have just the materials that we need to succeed.
Again, we'll hear, we're having these books outdated, there's things that we need here in the school, there's building, and again, we're here lucky at Cache, but other schools, in Lawton or anywhere else, those buildings are falling apart, they have rain damage and everything, and if with these budget cuts, it just affects us all.
I've been through so many classrooms that are 30 plus students, and inside a classroom that's just filled. We have books that are older than I am. We have books that are the same age as our teachers. So this outdated material and classroom materials that aren't up to date, it really hampers our ability to learn. And not only that, it makes the teacher's jobs harder because they have to teach 30 plus students in a classroom that can be very stressful for somebody, not only to learn under, but for somebody to also teach under.
They shouldn't have to do that. They teach us, they are creating the minds of the future. They shouldn't have to work another job just to pay the bills. They should be able to pay the bills with the money they make because they're very important.
Teachers, they have one of the most important jobs. Without them, we wouldn't
be anything. We wouldn't learn, we wouldn't have a career, we wouldn't really have a future. And they shouldn't have to work like that to provide for themselves and their families.
Teachers having to work 2+ jobs, it astounds me, honestly. Like, these teachers stay up at the school so early and so late, and a lot of these teachers, they're more than just teachers to us. To a lot of us, they are like parents to us, and they do things for us, they buy things. A lot of times when we go on school trips, if you see a kid who didn't have any money or didn't bring any, they'll be like, you know what, I got you. And that really means a lot to some students. The teachers, we see them more hours out of the day than we see our own parents. So they are huge role models in our life.
But that's pretty ridiculous, the fact that they have to do that. I know that if my parents had to work 2 jobs, you know, I'd be missing out a lot of family time with them, and just to put food on the table, like you know, it's fun and it's nice to go do those things, like go to the movies, go bowling, and do things, and it's fun to do with your family, and those are experiences you should have. But if you're having to work those 2 jobs, you're not having the time to do that, and you're barely getting enough money to do that.
Yeah, and with it, like, I feel like teachers should be paid more because they're educating students to go into college or not go into college, but majority of the time students will go into college. And for example, the legislators that we have in office and everything, they obviously went through high school, they went through college, and those teachers taught them everything they need to know to be prepared for college, and college prepared them for whatever they're going to be going in for. Obviously, it's their job as legislators. And with that, I think it's me. I don't think it's right that teachers need to get 2 jobs just so they can provide for the family and everything, whenever they pretty much provide for everybody knowledge and everything like that.
It's really sad to see because they do so much for us, and there's no reason why they should have to work so much more and still get paid significantly less than other people, because you know they are preparing us for the future, and anybody else out there in like a business job or anybody in the government wouldn't be in their job if it weren't for the teachers. So it's difficult to see teachers having to do that.
Also takes away from family life as well, because they're spending more time at their jobs, and then they already have a really long job, which is, you know, like teaching students. Sometimes they stay after work, you know, to help students learn, and then on top of that, they have to go work minimum wage jobs just to keep, you know, a decent life going for themselves and their family, just to get by another day, to get another meal. And that's also just really depressing to see, of, you know, how hard they're trying just to keep a stable environment for themselves and their children and their students.
I think that's unacceptable. I mean, especially a job that requires you to have a college degree. You got to understand that a lot of people come out of college having student debt. So, you know, for usually jobs that require a college degree, you're going to be making good money, you're going to have good hours, you're going to be able to provide for your family, and that's just not true with teaching in Oklahoma, and I think that that's wrong. You know, I know a teacher that I went up to the Capitol Hill with, and we spoke with her, and she's 25, works full-time as a teacher and has to live with her parents. And I think that's unacceptable, and you got to understand, some people have to work 2 jobs just to raise their family, not to go on expensive vacations, just to live, and I think that that's unacceptable.
So some of our legislators at the Capitol told some of our cash students this week that teachers need to better budget their money. So let me just share with you my personal experience. So I am a teacher. I am a counselor, so I do get a little bit of extra pay for that. I wake up at 4 o'clock every morning, and I teach students in China how to speak English. So that's my second job. And so every morning I wake up at 4, and then in the evening time I teach those kids. Sometimes I teach them till midnight, and then turn around again and wake up at 4. So that's my extra job. My husband has a separate lawn business, and he mows about 60 yards just himself. And so what he does is he comes to work during mowing season. He comes to work. We have to be here at 8. He's normally here at 7:15. School gets over. We're allowed to leave at 3:34. he leaves, then he goes and he works till 8 p.m. at night. And he does that every day. And obviously, you know, mowing yards, that's a very labor strenuous job. So it's a lot for our family, but we make those sacrifices so that we can live the lifestyle that we wish to. And it would be, a teacher pay raise would be great because we would not have to work all of that extra, and maybe we could spend more time together as a family.
I wouldn't really want to become a teacher in Oklahoma because you don't get paid anything. Your teachers do a job that they love. They work with kids. You can't do that unless you love it, so they should get paid for what they're worth.
Personally, I wouldn't do it, but somebody would have to. You just don't get paid enough.
It's actually affected a lot because, like, for me, for example, my mom's a freshman English teacher at Eisenhower High School, and with it, I've always thought about becoming either like a choir teacher, band teacher, or just some form of like world history or something. And like seeing how teachers are treated in Oklahoma and see how much education is not funded, it made me really change my mind to think I can't do this here. I had to go to a completely new state to do this to possibly get a better pay than Oklahoma.
Basically what Jake said, I may have wanted to be a coach, an English teacher, but now it's making me consider, because do I really want to sign off to a life of debt?
Ever since like second grade, I've always wanted to be a teacher, and now that I've gotten older and I've realized what the situation is here, I know that I'll probably leave Oklahoma for other reasons too, but a significant part of it is the pay, and I want to be able to support my family, my future family, and I don't want to have to worry about where my next meal's coming from, especially since I want to go into the music education field, because that is even more difficult, and yeah, that's
I personally have never thought of becoming a teacher, but a lot of my friends do, and I don't want them to have to work 2 jobs just to get by, so we need to do something about it, honestly.
It really has made me think about my future and about what I want to be, because I've honestly considered being a teacher, but now it makes me reconsider, because being a teacher in Oklahoma is just obviously a struggle, and it makes me consider moving to different states, and it just really affects my career path.
In Oklahoma, I would never be a teacher. You can't survive off it. The cost of living increases, and the teacher pay doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you supposed to do?
You know, me personally, if I was to become a teacher in Oklahoma, I think that you know, looking towards the future, I would stand up now. You know, and this is part of the reason why I wanted to stand up for this, because I want, for, you know, let's say my kids live in Oklahoma, I want them to have the best education possible. And I really feel for these teachers who have fought this for 25 plus years, because it's so easy to go to Texas 30 minutes away and make $10,000 more a year, but they chose to stand here and stand up for our education. I think that's important.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm not going to be a teacher in Oklahoma, and I wanted to be a teacher when I was a kid. You know, they had us write down what we wanted to be. That's what I wrote down. And now just kind of seeing how these teachers are treated these days and not being paid anything practically. Like, I mean, my whole family, I come from a very long line of teachers. And so I honestly would not teach in Oklahoma. I would move to Texas or teach anywhere else but here, because it's gotten ridiculous, and unless something changes, I have a feeling that most of this generation rising up right now is not going to be teaching here.
I think a pay raise is important. What it would do is it would justify our work. It would show that we're respected, and that's a big part of it. But in addition, really, I would gladly forego a raise if we could get better classroom funding. What needs to stop is the constant cuts at the legislature. For the past 10 years, we've seen cuts.
My opinion on a teacher pay raise is that it is well overdue. We have teachers that work very, very hard, and it would be nice if they were paid for as hard as they work and the hours that they do work. Some of us are coaches, some of us sponsor 2 or 3 activities just to get those extra little bits of money in. So some of us are going from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. at night, which brings really our pay down to below minimum wage. Mm-hmm. So taking that into consideration, a teacher pay raise is very needed and very long overdue.
I think it needs to be done. The state is currently, as they say, hemorrhaging teachers. Teachers are leaving. There are more teachers leaving the state every year than that are coming to it, especially the recent college grads. They're graduating and leaving. And I stayed here. The only thing that kept me here was that my family is here. So I had a positive structure that I was trying to maintain when I was setting out as a brand new teacher. So my support system was here. So that's the only reason why I stayed. And it really needs to happen, or you're not going to see an improvement in education. You're not, because all the qualified teachers are going to continue leaving because they don't have any hope that things are going to get better. Nobody's asking for an exorbitant amount of money. We're just asking for the cost of living to be covered. Like, there is no reason that teachers should have 3 jobs trying to feed their family.
Yeah.
My opinions on it, my wife, she's an educator herself, so it kind of hits close to home. But I really feel like, the teachers are, they're the building blocks for our foundation and the youth going forward. There's technically no job you can get without a high school education or a GED, and that requires a teacher. So my opinions on it, I feel like, they're underpaid and they need to be paid, accordingly. It sucks that we're last. Oklahoma has so much revenue as far as casinos and lottery and oil and tolls and all that stuff. And to me, it's like, where's the money going? I live in the Lawton General area, and I see schools closed down everywhere, and I'm just thinking about it from that standpoint of view, like, the kids aren't in school, where are they at, and it's just sad to see, the state of affairs that we're in the state of Oklahoma right now, so.
Well, if I were to get a raise, I surely would, my comfort of living would increase, but also, as a teacher, we're going to channel a lot of that raise into our students. That's what we do. We've spent all of our own money since the state started cutting, so we're just going, I'm sure that a lot of us will just continue to fund our classroom with that extra money.
It will affect me pretty bad. This summer I will not be able to get unemployment, so I will have to find a job for the summertime. And if I don't find one, then I could lose my house and not be able to pay my bills.
My family, not particularly much, because I don't have any children yet. I will soon, but it's just me and my husband. So, and the only reason why I am rather comfortable in my setting is because of my husband. If I was still a single woman, it was a struggle trying to live on my own. And I've told this story to several of my students because they asked. And at one point when I was living on my own, after all my bills were paid, college, car, rent, everything, I only had about $80 to last me 2 weeks, and I had to buy food off of that. So I lived off of, I think, easy mac and cheese for about 2 weeks. And I didn't share that with anybody because it's nobody's business, and I don't need to put that on anybody's shoulders. But I taught some voice lessons to one of my students, and she hadn't paid me for them for about a month. And then her mother came in and handed me a $100 bill. And it was all I could do not to cry, because I could actually go to the store and buy myself some real food with that. And that's exactly what I did. So as soon as the lesson concluded, I got in my car and went straight to the grocery store and bought myself something to eat. So that was my reality as a single lady. And mind you, this is without having to pay for insurance. That is the big thing, because my father still had me on his insurance. I was only 23, and he could keep me till I was 26. And so when I was single, I could still have his insurance, and he was still paying for my cell phone. So I still had a couple things that my parents were helping me with. So I had this lack of funds with just me, no family, and a couple of my bills still being paid. And you have to think about other families that are paying all those bills that I lacked with children. And so it's just rather sad when you think of it that way. So,
as far as I'm concerned, if the teachers walk out, then I won't have any students to serve. That in part means I won't have a job. I won't be able to provide for my portion for my family. My wife is an educator as well, and she won't have any students to teach. So You know, it's a double-edged sword, you know, on both ends of it. I have family members and kids that go to school, and, you know, if the kids don't go to school, then we have to stay home and watch them. If we have to stay home and watch them, then there's no money to be made, and bills can't get paid. You know, we can't buy groceries to eat and stuff like that. So, you know, it's really hitting right at home for us. So, you know, it's just saddening, really.
The first one is Oklahoma teachers, their average for like annually, their average is around like 42,000.
I ain't making anywhere near that much.
Really?
No.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
But that's fine. I understand that's a number.
Yeah. Then we had looked up a McDonald's general manager is around 55,000, and a Texas teacher is around 55,500, which is around $15,000 more than what we had calculated for Oklahoma teachers. What you just said, yours is a lot lower than that. So
And again, I'm lower on the teacher pay scale because I haven't been teaching that long, and there are step increases for teachers, but I haven't broken 40,000. But the fact that Texas pays that much more just shows that what a state can do if they care about education, and that's why we have so many teachers leaving our state. We have a lot of teachers. The teacher of the year from Oklahoma last year left to Texas because he was paid substantially more.
Oklahoma teachers at 42,460, and I had recently read that to another teacher, and they said that they got paid well underneath that.
Well, yes, I this is my 7th, maybe my 8th year teaching, and I'm significantly under that. Yes.
Wow. And then me and my friend had looked up some other ones, and it was McDonald's general managers. They get about 55,000.
Yeah, that's upsetting, and I know that education doesn't necessarily mean that you should be paid more, because there's a lot of people who are very successful who don't have college degrees, and I don't think that college degrees measure success. But myself, I do have a master's degree, a bachelor's degree. I'm going to be having a second master's degree soon. And to know that someone who works at McDonald's is making that much money, it's kind of like a slap in the face.
Yeah. We had also looked up that Texas teachers make about 55,500, which is almost 15,000 more than a lot of Oklahoma teachers.
Yes.
So how does that make you feel?
That tells me that their legislature cares about them and supports them, and the state of Texas values education in a way that I feel that not a lot of lawmakers do. I know that I value education very much, but a lot of them, I feel like a lot of our people who are making decisions don't necessarily value the public education as opposed to private or charter education.
It makes me kind of sad to hear that, because, I mean, teachers are so important in our life today. It just doesn't make sense why they wouldn't be paid a fair amount.
It obviously shows that one thing I know about the Texas legislators and everything like that, there's, I want to say it was either less of them or more of them, which makes them not be able to get paid that much. And one thing I recently heard about is the legislators in Oklahoma getting a pay raise for themselves, which I don't think it's right. That it shows corruption at its finest in our government. And I've always been a person who always think our government's corrupted. Government officials are corrupted majority of the time, and obviously shows that. And with it, I think that Texas teachers are also kind of treated better. And honestly, it's depressing to see that a McDonald's worker gets more than a teacher.
I bet if you go and look up the Texas GPA for their students and other states, I bet their GPA is going to be higher, or their ACT scores, because the teachers have more time to put in effort if they get paid more. And working at McDonald's, like I said, it's just messed up completely.
Pretty upset. I could see McDonald's making more money. It's a corporation, so they're going to try to give their people the most money to keep that business going, where the teachers is a state where they have to work, so they can pay you the bare minimum and you have to deal with it.
It's pathetic. That's all it is. It's just extremely pathetic that people working jobs that, like, for McDonald's or like Burger King, could make more money than a teacher does. That's just sad. And the fact that nobody does something about it makes it even worse, because these teachers have a harder job than those teenagers working minimum wage, and yet they're getting paid more half the time, just as a general manager, which is really sad.
It's also kind of frustrating knowing that, like, not to take away from what like the teachers in Alaska or Texas are doing, but they're doing the same thing, but they're getting paid thousands of dollars more than our teachers here are doing, and we know that our teachers here are getting stretched thin because we have less teachers here. You know, multiple of our teachers are teaching like multiple grades, you know, different courses, just so that all of our students can get the courses that they need to graduate high school. So that's definitely really not stressful, but frustrating to hear.
Flabbergasted. I mean, I understand the need for, you know, all those other jobs and stuff like that, but if those other jobs can be, you know, get paid like that, then why can't the teachers? You know, like I said, you know, there's literally no, even a general manager at McDonald's, they need a high school education, you know. So that means from kindergarten all the way up into high school, 18 years, they need a teacher. So just think, if we walked out today, you know, and we stayed out for 18 years, then we wouldn't even have any general managers for McDonald's and stuff like that. If you can equate it like that, you know, we need our educators, because, you know, we can't teach the kids ourselves. The kids can't teach them, you know, teach them stuff that they need to learn. So our educators are number one, you know. It's just like parents at home. They're our first educators, but when we go to school, you know, we have, our teachers are like our parents. They take care of us and they give us the tools that we need to succeed in life. So it's just crazy, you know. I don't get it, you know. One of those things in life that's not fair, but it's one of those things in life that can be corrected, you know, really quickly, and I think that's what needs to happen.
Yeah. It honestly makes me so sad for the teachers, and it's really depressing.
It's kind of ridiculous right there that somebody who's going to college, they have multiple degrees and different things like this, and they you know, they spend all this money to go to college to get all this done, having someone who maybe just has a high school diploma go out and make more money than you, that's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think it's important to look at that. That's up to. That's not starting wages, you know. And yeah, working at McDonald's, being a manager, I mean, it's sad that they'll make more money than that. I mean, especially because, like I said, you don't need a college degree to be a manager at McDonald's. So I think that if you look at, you know, the fact that it requires a college degree, that you're working so much time, you know, throughout the year, the job stuff that you have to do, the responsibilities that you have, it encompasses so much stuff that you should not be worrying about feeding your kids or having, you know, presents for Christmas and stuff like that. You should have a stable job that you can provide for your family with. And I think that if we can provide that in Oklahoma, we can compete with other states when it comes to education. But I think it's Oklahoma's time and part to step up to focus on education instead of you know, oil and gas and stuff like that, so we have a brighter future for ourselves and for our future students here.
And first off, we have Oklahoma teachers at $42,460, and I've heard a lot of teachers say that they get paid a lot less.
Oh, yes. I would like to make that much. I don't. If we're going to get personal with numbers, I make about $32K a year. That is before I get, actually my district provides me with the stipend yearly because I sponsor so many kids. I have a high volume of kids. I teach grades 5 through 12. And I sponsor all the different honor choirs and sign them up for things. So because I'm an activity sponsor, I receive an extra $6,000 a year. If I were to work for a different district, I might not receive that at all. That is because I work for this particular district, and that's their choice to compensate me for that work. So, and even then, you know, it's not even anywhere close to $42,000 a year. That would be nice, actually.
Yeah. Me and one of my friends had looked up some other jobs and what they get per year. We had McDonald's general manager at $55,000 a year, and a Texas teacher at $55,500 a year, which was almost $15,000 more than what we had said Oklahoma teachers were, but found out that that was definitely off.
Well, I should go be a McDonald's manager. That's what I should do, I guess, because I knew what I was getting into, right? But exactly that, I did know what I was getting into, but that doesn't mean I don't deserve a good wage because of what I do.
Yeah, so when me and my friend Abby were coming up with these questions, we had said that the teacher salary annually is about the $42,460. Well, we definitely got that wrong, even though we had looked it up, done our research on it. We had a lot of teachers tell us that they make way below that. And that's really sad and kind of disheartening to me, because I thought 42 was very low. And when I see some other teachers making 32, I'm speechless at that. I mean, who knew that to be a general manager at McDonald's when you can get $55,000, everyone's gonna pick that. But you know, we still have to have teachers in Oklahoma. And honestly, all these teachers in Oklahoma, props to you guys, because I don't know how you do it. Like, honestly, the stuff that you'll have to deal with, and for getting paid nearly nothing, it's insane. And having a McDonald's general manager making more than you guys, I honestly just think it's disrespectful. I mean, gosh, I don't even know. It's just, it's sad, to say the least.
What I would say is that, yes, I did know that I was coming into a field of service, a field of public service, but when you are in college and you're used to just being broke, like you know, eating ramen noodles every day, and you're told, oh, you're gonna make, you know, $1,800 a month. Wow, that sounds like so much money to you. And well, then you have to start paying mortgage and car payments and all of these things. And then after you pay for all your bills, you have $200 left over at the end of the month. Or some people $400. So yes, I knew I was coming into a field of public service where I was going to be paid lower than people in a business field, but never did I imagine that I would not be rewarded for my experience, my expertise, or years of service. So I kind of thought that as I would progress in my profession and get more education and more years of experience and expertise, I thought that there would be more benefit. There would be actually a benefit for me to do that, and there's not currently.
Yes, we know what we got into, but we're also just trying to make a stand for education, because we're losing quality teachers who go to another state to teach to make more money, which leaves us with inexperienced teachers, which leaves us with teachers who just are trapped here because of other issues. And what's going to happen to our quality of education is going to plummet. If you want to attract quality teachers, you pay more. You don't pay at the bottom. And that's what we're going to have. And so that's going to affect our students. Our students are going to be the ones who are leading the next economy, and it's not going to work if they can't do their basic high school curriculum.
A lot of people are. All of your qualified teachers are leaving. They're quitting. They're done, because we are human beings. So the fact that we were called to teach means that there is a special part of us that has a love for students and a love for giving them our knowledge and our attention and watching that light come on in their eyes when they understand something. In my case, it's a little more personal, making music, imparting musicianship to kids and young adults that they will take with them the rest of their life. And if I can't do that and survive, that's a problem. Mm-hmm. So I don't blame a lot of teachers for quitting, especially when there's people in the community that don't really care whether they live comfortably or at least can feed their kids without having to work 2 other jobs. It is absolutely shameful that we are put in this position.
Why don't I just quit? Well, I look forward to coming to my job every day. I absolutely love what I do. On Saturday and Sunday, I'm kind of sad that I'm not here. Fridays, I wouldn't even mind if we had school 7 days a week, because I love my job that much. I look forward to coming to school every day. I could go, and I know multiple jobs right now that I could go to, and I could make a lot more money, but I would have to sit at a desk, not get to interact with a lot of people, and that doesn't fit me. You know, a high school setting is what fits me and makes me happy, and I love the energy and the enthusiasm of high school kids, and this is where I'm supposed to be. This is where I feel like I've been led and called to be, and this is where I feel like I can do the most benefit. So really, that's why I haven't left, even though the pay isn't that great. I feel like that this is where I'm supposed to be.
Quitting is not in my nature. I'm a fighter. I think that's what our country is built on, is not a whole bunch of people quitting because it got harder. We need to strive through. We need to continue to endure and persevere. You know, and take a stand. And that's why I support the teachers, because they're taking a stand for what's right, you know. And I'm a firm believer, especially as a Christian, you know, you stand for what's right, because if you don't stand for what's right, you're going to fall for everything that's wrong.
We'll never quit our students. Never.
Oklahoma shouldn't be considered the worst state. They should make it be considered the greatest state.
I agree with what Abby says with that, because a lot of people really look down on Oklahoma as a whole state and everything, just from history and just from the fact of how education is now, and knowing about the upcoming student teacher walkout and everything. A lot of people in other states think it's depressing seeing what we have to do just to get a point across about teachers being paid more, to show that students are going to be affected through this and everything, not just teachers. The students are going to be affected, anything like that.
I just wanted to read off a little memorandum that me and my director came up for, as far as, you know, the unemployment and how it affects our kitchen. You know, just to share that with the legislature, you know, and move on that as well, because, you know, support staff is all entitled support. You know, we need support from other people. We need to support the other people. So I just want to read this real quick and, you know, just add that to, you know, conclusion to what we got going on. To whom it may concern, as a constituent of your district, I'm asking you to consider the changes to justify recently Title 40 Labor Bill, November 1st, 2017. As a productive member of society trying to work and support my family, I have chosen a career within the school district to coincide with my school-age children's schedules. Not putting the extra burden of child care on me nor the state of Oklahoma for any kind of additional support. I am not a school district employee. I work for the service contractor of my district. I do not receive any monies on school breaks, such as holidays or summer break. The only income was our unemployment checks that are lower than our actual wages. It is in my opinion that the decision will affect the state of Oklahoma as a whole the next year. Many, as well as myself, will not return next year, leaving the already struggling workforce in the cafeterias across the state even more short-handed. It is my understanding that the burden of unemployment is not solely on the state of Oklahoma. The employer does not contribute at a higher percentage for allowing us to file these breaks. And just adding on to that, we need to have that unemployment, because, like I said, you know, a lot of these, you know, the support staff, they don't have a job to go to, you know, during the summertime. You know, this is it. You know what I'm saying? If you can't get unemployment for the summertime and you go out and find another job that's a better job, you're not going to come back to a job that's a less paying job. You're going to stay at the better job. So that's going to leave the schools shorthanded. And we're here to feed the kids. That's our number one goal, is to feed the kids. Those people in the legislature, I'm sure they have grandkids and kids as well. You know, we can't feed the kids. Who's going to feed them? You know, that's just my status on that. Like I said, Oklahoma, they need to do better as far as the teachers. They need to do better as far as the support staff, not just think about, you know, the legislature or all those other companies that bring in all big bucks and stuff like that. Think about, you know, the people at the smaller end of the, you know, the spectrum too. So
I just think that teachers, a lot of times people think, like, I've just heard comments, teachers being called extortionists. Teachers need to better budget their money. We've been taking students up, and a lot of lawmakers in the House of Representatives were rude to our students. Were straight up telling them lies, saying that their teachers were filling our high school students' heads with thoughts. These things are absolutely not acceptable or true. To address the extortionist comment, you know, that implies very much a negative or ill intent, and that is absolutely not what teachers are trying to do. We're trying to do something for our students, not just for ourselves. I mean, yes, we would benefit directly from a teacher pay raise, but we're also fighting for funding for education. We've been doing that for, you know, over 10 years. Some of us, you know, I haven't been in the profession that long, but some people 20 years, and we're just not seeing that. And then they're saying we're filling our students' heads with these thoughts. how offensive that is to our students. They are free thinkers. They can do the research. They can read. They can write. They're intelligent. They don't need us to tell them how to form thoughts and opinions because they can form their own. And trust me, we get to hear about all their thoughts and opinions. So they don't need us to guide them. They can very much formulate their own. And I just wish that everyone in the state valued education and students as much as I do, and had as much passion behind their job as what I have and feel. And I hope that our people in the legislature have passion behind their job. And if I'm speaking directly to you, you're there to be a representative of your people. Represent the people where you are. And some of you are probably doing a really good job of that. Some of you may not be, but at least I know here at Cash we support education, and education is very much valued, and we would love to see votes for education always.
Yes, I would just like to say that I want to say thank you to all teachers that have stood up for our education. I know as a senior I've gone through 12 plus years of this, and I've seen the struggles, and teachers having to work 2 jobs. It's terrible, and I really do feel for them. As I leave my educational career, as I go into the military, I want to thank everybody that has stood up for my education, and I hope that for my future students, that they have a better educational opportunity than I did, and that standing up today made a change.
Nothing that hasn't already been said by myself or others. I mean, what do you value? You'll figure out what you value by where you put your money and where you put your time. And if you're not going to spend time trying to figure out how to help your kids in their education, or you're not going to finance it, then you are clearly sending a message that educating your children is not a priority.
Yeah.
And it has been a priority for teachers. We have done so much with so little, and it's getting to a point where we cannot continue the way we have been going. So it's up to them. It's not my job to be a legislator. It's the legislator's job to be a legislator.
I want to say thank you so much for watching this video, and please respond to it, comment in it, just kind of what your take is on the whole situation. Also repost so that we can kind of get this going around so that other people can see what is really going on and how it is really affecting people and their families, because believe me, it is. And yeah, just thank you so much. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I hope this makes it up, and I hope a lot of people see this and that we are able to spread the word and get people to know what's really going on behind the scenes. Thank you guys.